Welcome, welcome, welcome to our world, Hour of Power. And we have a special, my name is Glenn Greenwich, and we have a special guest host today, Miss Brenda Jones. And
hello.
We're going to be featuring Meet the Playwright, which is one of the things that Miss Jones has brought to JCal. So, Brenda, welcome to the show.
Why, thank you very much, Glenn, and welcome everybody to Hour of Power. This is a special treat because our regular host, which is not me, is out and doing other things in the world. So they were nice enough to let me run in and run all amok in the studio. And thank you very much, Mr. Glenn, because God knows they'll probably never let me back in after this.
Oh, impossible. We love having you. You're great energy. And, one of the things that's important, a lot of you know that I'm about economic development. And economic development includes culture and bringing arts to the neighborhoods. It's a very important component of economic development. So we include that in our conversation. So the work that you're doing, Brenda, and your brother, and the parts that you're doing at JCal to bring culture to downtown Jamaica is tremendous, and so we know we'll be working with you for many years in the future.
I'm too young for that. It'll be centuries.
Well, so what is the play and the playwrights that you're going to be introducing this month at JCal for us?
This month, which is October 2022, for those of you who are slow, we're going to introduce a new play, which is called Stories of Jackson Heights. And it's about, I tell you that, but then I'd have to tell you that the butler did it. So, okay, I won't tell you that part. I'll have the playwrights explain themselves because they're here in the studio with us. And I'm going to introduce them by first name only because I'm going to totally mess up their names, and I don't want to do that, and then they'd walk out. So right now, this is Gargi and Harun. They are a married couple who have written this wonderful play. And so please introduce yourselves before I just totally chew up your names and I embarrass you totally.
Welcome.
Thank you, Brenda and Glenn.
Your names.
My name is Golam Sarwar Harun.
Now you know why.
And my wife.
I am Gargi Mukherjee. Very nice to be here. Thank you for inviting us at our World Hour of Power show.
It's just been a delight because I've worked with them in the past at JCal. And for those who don't know what JCal is, that's Jamaica Center for Arts and Learning. JCal is doing a monthly play at the center with new playwrights. Or playwrights are not necessarily established, so it will not be Eugene O'Neill, okay? But that's the point, is to reflect the culture that's in the borough. And because the borough is, 105 different languages, Glenn? And
it's the most diverse county in the world, is what I'm told. Now, of course, some people will debate that. But one of the things about Jamaica in general, it's a melting pot. We've got lots of different cultures here in Queens, and we're looking to promote work that is not necessarily on Broadway. We want to cultivate. We've got these great entrepreneurs here, did somebody say that you guys are from Bangladesh? Is your background?
I am from Bangladesh.
You are from Bangladesh, okay.
Gargi.
I'm from India.
And from India, okay. So great. Again, we've got the cultural melting pot here in Jamaica, and so JCal is looking to promote that and to make that happen for all of the cultures that are here, so that everybody can participate and see themselves in it. And again, as we all know, it's important for our young people to see themselves in culture, and so you guys are delivering that. So what's the name of your play?
Stories of Jackson Heights.
So Stories of Jackson Heights. So what do you want to let us know? And of course, you can't tell us everything because we want them to come out. So what about? Tell us a little bit about the Stories of Jackson Heights.
It basically questions the current United States, the current immigration system here. And it is showcasing the story of one family, but and their journey, their harrowing journey through this immigration system in trying to be legal US residents and then ultimately citizens of this country. And then while doing so, their interaction with the community surrounding them and beyond, and how when we see their interactions, there are other little stories that come into the picture. While this family's harrowing journey is the main story, but there are other characters that are interacting with them, and then we get to see their lives as well. So that's why it's called Stories of Jackson Heights. We've chosen Jackson Heights because, again, it is another huge melting pot.
Yes, it is.
Of all kinds of cultures, various diverse communities. And the point of the play is that while this is a story of a Bangladeshi family, this could be a story of, that belongs to any community, any culture. It could be your story, my story, anybody's story, so to speak.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Do you want to add anything?
So well, I guess the question is, so what had you, what inspired this storyline, this theme? What, how did you come up with it?
Gargi was listening an interview in a radio of
NPR.
In NPR, and she
Our competition.
And she shared with me the story, and we start research on it. There is an organization named DRAM, Deshis Rising Up and Move. They work for undocumented immigrants here. We interviewed a lot of people, including the people who work for them.
Okay.
And that included a lawyer as well, who is very familiar with the current immigration system and has seen such cases. And so it was important to interview people, as Harun said, undocumented people, get their stories, get their insights, their emotional journey, their physical, financial journey, and understand that and put all of that into context through this family's story.
Yeah, that's great, because one of the things that comes to mind is it's not easy being undocumented in this country. There are a lot of barriers. There are health care, working, trying to survive. And so it's an important conversation that I don't think happens often enough. And also, you also have all of the problems that occur legally that they have to combat and be aware of, and understanding their rights. Correct. And so forth. So it's a lot to it. So I can see that you had a lot of detailed work behind you to bring into this.
Yes, for sure. It's a complex topic.
Very.
It's not an easy topic. It is very layered. But when you are putting up a play, you have to make certain choices.
Sure.
And we chose certain elements and tried to highlight and bring that through as a story.
As Gargi said, it's a very complex topic. We try to keep it a little lighter in our version of the play. Actually, we staged this play earlier. We have directed that. And the version you will see in JKL, this is directed by someone else. Shumun Mukherjee from India.
Okay.
He was visiting here, and he was working with Barnard College, and he chose this script to make a production, and we performed in that play in his direction.
Okay.
He made it different. It is totally serious. The way he presented the play, um, beginning to end, is very serious. And our version of play, we tried to keep it little entertaining. There were some songs in it with energy, but he slowed down the songs, so it sounds different.
It was what I think. Harun, what you're saying is it was interesting to see how one play can be interpreted differently by different directors, and and each creative mind, and Shumon has a vibrant creative mind, and each creative mind brings with with his or her mind the acumen with which they look at a play and interpret a play and design a play accordingly. So it was interesting to see, because we had designed it in one way and he designed it in another way, the juxtaposing of the two designs. So we enjoyed that journey as well.
It strikes me that just from the undocumented people that I have known personally, that there's such an emotional toll, because it's like, okay, you're sitting around, so if your name is hypothetically Brenda Jones in the country of wherever you're from, but you move over here and you've taken on another name, and you're Jane and everything is great, so you're Jane Doe, and then someone says down the street to someone else saying, hey Brenda, how you doing? You turn because that's your name, and then it's like, I can't show that. And so, because when you told me what the play was about, I'm thinking, that's a lot. Because I've seen people on a personal basis where you could see them kind of torn between, or I used to know her in my previous life, but now I can't speak to her because I can't acknowledge the fact I'm over here as Jane. And so there's that give and take, which would almost drive me crazy.
So that's interesting that he brings. It's a question of identity.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So that identity, which is, our core. It's my core, my identity. And when that identity is questioned, or when that identity, whether you want to hide that identity, you want to adopt another identity, should I not, those various battles within the human mind and in interacting with society at large and the community at large, is a very difficult but an important issue.
Yes, and I want to come back to what you said a little earlier. The mindset of the different cultures is so important to capture that imagery, that thought process. That what are you up against? My family is West Indian background. And one of the funny things that my father remembers or relayed to me was that that oftentimes the immigration people would look for people who shake their glass with ice, because that's a very Caribbean thing. So that would be the thing that would identify you as an undocumented for them to interact with you. So there are all these little
nuances of culture.
Yeah, cultural nuances that come into play that you don't even really recognize as differentiating you from the
Someone
masses, but yet are able to categorize you, and then of course then you have to be careful in terms of the interaction that causes it.
Yes, and so important that both of you are bringing this up, because in this play, in this story, there is this topic of 24/7 monitoring through an ankle bracelet.
Yes.
And the woman, the mother of the family, she is made to wear that because her husband is held at a detention center, and the only reason they released her from the detention center with her children is by ensuring that she is agreeable to wearing this 24/7 monitoring device. And so Brenda, what you brought up, that whole identity thing, like this device, the charge it has to be charged at all times for it to work, and the charge, can die randomly, and not giving away too much about the about the play, but there is a situation where she's working, she at restaurants and busy restaurants, and suddenly the device will notify you that the charge is dying, and it's loud. So she goes to a social gathering, she goes to her a religious Eid, a holiday celebration, and then there her charge dies, and everybody is, sort of like, I don't know you.
I knew you then, but not right now.
Right. I knew you then, and I don't know you now. And she also would rather, hide with
Of
her
course.
identity.
Yeah.
Rather
Even
than
her daughter feel embarrassed when she goes to her school for a parent meeting.
Yeah.
She's embarrassed. Just, don't go to my school anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
yeah, the daughter says, like, don't, and that hurts her.
Yeah.
And that hurts her on many levels, on, the fact that, she's by herself trying to fight this battle. Her husband is held at a detention center. She has 2 kids, and she's trying to make sure that they get their education. She's trying to make sure that they have food to eat. She's trying to work. She's like, it's a lot of things that, she is, trying to manage and combat, as you said, the word. I like that word, combat. She's trying to combat so many things at so many levels. And then when your own daughter is saying, like, you embarrass me, don't come to my school. It's just like...
That cuts.
It is, yeah, it's heart-wrenching. So how did you guys come into the playwriting business? So, what were your backgrounds? Let's start. What was your inspiration to become a writers?
I primarily was an actor.
Okay.
In back home, I used to act in movies, radio plays, television productions.
Oh, then we need your autograph. Wow, no, you didn't tell me that before. It's like, gee.
And I was on a theater movement in Bangladesh called Group Theater Movement. I was part of that very actively. And our theater group needs a play, original play. They are not going to stage any published play, so they push me, they make me to start writing.
Okay.
That's the beginning in
Way back then.
96
Way
or
back
so,
then.
yes. I started writing then I wrote few stage plays, some television productions, and few screenplays back home.
Mm-hmm.
Then I moved here late 90s, and first I wrote a street play here. That was also about undocumented people.
Okay.
And I staged that with this Dhaka Drama people.
Right. Okay.
And then I found her. She is a professional writer. That's her profession.
Okay.
She is the copy head of Havas Network.
It's a healthcare advertising and communications company. So I do that. But, so I enjoy writing. And I have been very actively, engaged in the theater scene here in the United States for quite a few years. Again, primarily as an actor, and worked with many stalwart directors who came from India, a couple of them from Bangladesh as well. So got to work with them, participate in workshops with them. So that has been a very, very enriching learning, experience for me. And while I do like to, perform in classics or written, well-established plays that are written and published, as Harun is saying, there's always this need to tell our story. The
Very
story,
important, yes.
Yeah, the story about the community that I live in or other communities, the diasporic community, the South Asian diasporic community living here in the United States, and and its interaction with mainstream American communities. So it was almost like an insatiable need to portray and to uphold stories of our lives living here, and that is what primarily prompted me to take up, playwriting beyond my professional writing.
Excellent.
I used to write in my mother language, in Bangla, because my English is so bad. So
then that means my English is bad too, because I understand you quite well. So we have a problem here, and I haven't been to Bangladesh recently.
So when I write in Bangla, she translated it in English.
Okay. Oh, okay. Okay.
Okay, I have a question. I'm going to throw one at you that I hadn't even thought about until I'm listening to you talk right now, which is, being that I've been hanging out with actors and playwrights, et cetera, for about a couple of years now, or a little bit longer, as being outside mainstream American media, how do you handle, or do you even wish to think that you can get into mainstream? And I'm not going to pick on any particular show on television, but a lot of television shows will have their regular cast, which is usually white, a black or two, a Latino or two, and maybe an Asian, which is usually Chinese, Korean. And here you are established, both of you. You're an actress, you're an actor, you're a playwright. I mean, you've been doing it all. And you're still here in America going, "Psst, hey, me." Is there a need to either break down that door or just go, you know what, you guys stay over there. I'm going to do what I do well within my own universe?
No, there's absolutely a need to break down that door. We are also affiliated. I'm an executive committee member of a theater group in New Jersey called Epic Actors Workshop. Every year we host a South Asian theater festival. Yeah, and our mission statement is to bring together communities, and our vision is to integrate with American mainstream theater and communities as much as possible. So we are doing it in slow steps, but we surely, very assuredly, we are forging ahead. Our collaboration with Jamaica Performing Arts Center and Mr. Courtney French, and that's our one way of trying to integrate ourselves with theater that is beyond our community. Our work in New Jersey with New Jersey Performing Arts Center that we had done for a few years, and now with Crossroads Theater, with New Brunswick Performing Arts Center, NBPAC, our collaborations with them, those are also steps.
And New Jersey Theater Alliance.
And yes, Epic Actors Workshop is now a member of New Jersey Theater Alliance. So those are all steps towards, exactly what you mentioned.
Yeah, as opposed to being the token, or the show is about the fact that you are different, and then after that you don't exist for the rest of the show. It's
exactly
like,
right. That's exactly right. Yes.
That means I'll have to cross the river more frequently.
Yes.
Because I'm on this side of I'll go over there and find out.
Yes. You're most welcome.
Yeah, I know them.
Like Gargi actually acted in it's a very good movie named Namesake.
Namesake?
Yes. Directed by Meera Nair.
Okay, yeah.
It's a very popular movie. And she acted in many others plays, including Karma Calling and some others.
See, so that's what I'm saying. There's so much talent that's out there, but it's not until mainstream says it's your time now.
Right.
And that's so unfair because, like I said, I have two professionals, okay, you two, but two acting professionals in front of me and playwrights, et cetera. And it's like, but you're still scratching to get the door open. And it kind of gets me upset, but I won't go there right now.
No, it's, it gets us upset too, but I just don't want to let that upsetting feeling predominate, over everything else. We are theater artists. We, creative, like to engage in creative work and creative projects. So we're going to keep doing.
Well, you know what comes to mind? How does technology come into play now that we've got these phones that can do quality camera work and videography? Has that helped to promote some of the work? And the other part of it is, how are young people in your communities being embraced to do filmmaking and documentaries and so forth?
So technology certainly has helped. It has helped us a lot during the very devastating pandemic years, 2020, 2021. All theater had stopped, so we had started virtual, shows,
Okay.
virtual theater productions.
That's right.
Also,
We met.
and we met
with the virtual Meet the Playwright. Yeah.
with the virtual Meet the Playwright. Harun and I went to our basement and we shot a few scenes of our play that we had staged at JCal this past June. And that's how Courtney and Brenda, they came to know about Aisha Kuntala. So it has certainly helped, and it has provided an avenue for people who, even during the pandemic years, who could not do anything, to at least come out, share their voice, and be heard. And the other thing is about the reach of this technology. This, it is huge, because theater is a very time-bound, space-bound creative activity. When a performance is going on, it can be seen at that specific time by only those people who are in the venue.
Right.
But when you can virtually adapt it to the virtual setup, it can be seen by somebody in India, somebody in Bangladesh, somebody in Australia, somebody in New Zealand. And all of a sudden, the world is literally within your palm. And of course, there are, challenges to that also. How do you promote it? How do you get it across? And there are other challenges. But at least what I'm trying to say is, in answer to your question, the technology has provided that avenue and is able to provide that avenue. How we utilize it and how we, again, negotiate with with the technological challenges, that's a whole different aspect, but it has provided an avenue. And about children, our next generation and the younger people, we try to, in our plays, in our productions, try to involve, people from our next generation and try to get them interested. In our last play, Aisha Kuntala, there were a couple of people. One of them, she was helping us with the sound projection and the background. One of them, she was acting, on stage with us. She is a Harvard undergraduate student, but, it was her summer and she could do it, with us. So, she was marvelous. And so she acted. So we engage our son, who is a musician and a music composer, to do the music of all our plays.
Oh, great.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yes. So, and that is our way of, trying to bring in the younger generation in our productions in whatever form or capacity that they can. It's just the challenge is that they have very limited time.
Yeah.
And our son is a professional musician.
Okay.
He does his master's from Juilliard School of Music.
Oh, excellent, excellent, excellent school. So, where would you like to see these cultural films that you guys are making? Where would you like to see it in 5 years from now?
We are mostly doing theater. Again, in 5 years from now, if I had an audience that was 50% my community and 50% who are representatives from the mainstream American community. Now, again, you may say, like, how do you define that? Because the mainstream American community is also a very
yes.
diverse community. So, but I want, in my audience, if I could have some folks from Bangladesh, some folks from India, some folks from Pakistan, of course, our community at large, but also some folks from the African American community, from the Latina community, from, the Caucasian, I want the American melting pot, so to speak, be an audience of the work that we do.
Excellent, excellent.
I had seen a play recently on Broadway. It's closed now for other reasons than the performance, because the woman who was the lead actually won this year's Tony for she was fantastic. Long story short, it was Paradise Alley. I can't remember what it was called. It was historical based on Lower Manhattan, and that'll be another story altogether, but it's excellent. But the cast was a smear of almost everybody that pertained to early New York history, as in the 1800s, during the Civil War year. So that would be like the 1860s, and it had basically how New York politicians had set the African American community against the Irish community, against the Italian community, et cetera, because they all got together in Paradise Alley, which is not the right word. And I could tell the audience was kind of taken aback, because you're used to seeing mainstream media say, okay, this is a white play, but we'll throw some black people in there. Or this is about the Irish, but we'll throw some Italians in there. This is about everybody, and everybody carried their weight. And it was a very unified cast. It was, like I said, I've never seen, and I kid you not, someone get a standing ovation in the middle of a scene or in the middle of an act. They usually wait till the end of the act. Yeah. Or if it's, Barbara Streisand, then she gets the applause when she comes out. Barbara Streisand wasn't in it, but I'm just saying the woman did the song and everybody stood up. They had to stop the play until we all sat down, which was like, she was fantastic. But I could tell the audience was kind of thrown off because they weren't used to seeing a unified, integrated, truly integrated cast. Because it took Italians and Irish and blacks, and you could see how the history worked against all of because they were working against that group as a political bloc, and that wasn't going to work. And so they blocked that whole thing and burned down that part of New York, that is historical. So look it up. It's a big surprise. There was a race riot in downtown Manhattan, but who knew? But I wonder, can you do what you'd like to do by saying you would like a mainstream audience along with the audience of my community? Can it work? I'm not wishing against it because, like I said, I watch the audience because I see things differently when I'm in a theater. I like the production, but I'm checking out the audience always to see what they react to. Mm-hmm. And I could see people going, I didn't know that. And, oh, wow. And when at the break, at the intermission, I stood out in the lobby going,
listening to
and listened, and it was amazing how everybody was like, I didn't know and we didn't understand, and wow, I can't wait to see this again. If it were still on now, I would go back and watch it again just so I could actually watch the play without listening to the audience. But there seems to be a challenge that the powers that be, can't quite work that out. How can you have a play that appeals to everybody?
A multiracial cast. Interestingly, We did a production from Epic Actors Workshop in Lower Manhattan in 1997 and 1998 that had multiracial casting. It was a play written by a Bangladeshi playwright. It was about the British colonial rule. So we had white actors play the Britishers, and the other Indian and Bangladeshi actors play, the Indian and Bangladeshi characters. And that was with the present company in Lower Manhattan. And it was a huge success then. And we did have mixed audiences as well. It had a 2-week run, financially also it was successful. Not every show was sold out, but
Nobody's show is always sold out.
Right. So what we were able to do in 98, 99, not 97, 98 and 1999, we should be able to do that even more in a stronger way now.
Yeah.
That the world has,
Okay, Harun, get the play together because I want to see it. I'm sure you could do it like that.
Well, I had a question. So, obviously immigration is a very, as you said, complex and a multi-layered conversation. Are there other conversations that you're thinking about going after that would be a great presentation in the theater? Any issues that you'd like to take on and so forth that you're thinking about?
As and when they come along. We have a couple of thoughts and ideas, that are
percolating,
percolating and in the germinating stage. But we also like to do classics. We also, it's like so we were also thinking of doing a Shakespeare play in,
I'd love to see that.
in a bilingual way. And
wow, yeah, okay.
So, there are many things.
Any comedies?
Yes, we're thinking. We don't know if we'll be able to finally get the approval and be able to put together. It will be a comedy.
Okay. All right,
So
great.
there's no romantic comedies come? Like this guy's my guy? They're predictables.
Well, this is our world, our power. And I wanted, Brenda, would you just give our audience an idea of the format for the Playwright, Meet the Playwright?
Meet the Playwright is very simple. It is a workshop, very simplistic setup. So you have a blank stage. You might have 3 chairs together, which means couch. You might have a big white X on the floor, which means door. But what I have found, because this is our 3rd season, it's hard to believe I'm doing that, 3rd season, where we found if the play is strong enough and the actors are strong enough, there's never any question where the door is and why are there 3 chairs. They know it's a couch. And we've had success doing that. The play is between 35 to 45 minutes, usually somewhere around 40, but it's called Meet the Playwright, not Meet the Curator, which is actually what I am for the program. It's called Meet the Playwright because you have an opportunity to talk to the playwright and say, I loved it, I think it's awful, this is my view, I think it was... You get to ask any question you like. So whether it's from a theatrical point of view or whether it's just, I walked in here, this is a great play, will you do it again? You get to speak with the playwright and or the actors, and no holds barred. We'll cut it after 20 minutes because we've done a couple plays where it's like, no, we will not be here an hour after the 40-minute play. But it is growing in strength in audience where we actually had a technical issue on audio for the last play, which made the play curtain time start at 10 minutes after the hour. And I got a frantic text from a friend of mine. She goes, I'm here. I said, well, yeah, I'm glad. She goes, yeah, but when are you going to start? Because we're getting upset out here. There were about 60 people in the reception area going, when are you going to start? Okay, I'm sorry. It's like, hurry up. So I went back to the text and said, you got to handle this. But it has worked very well. It's very simple. You walk in, that's done. You have to register. You are not paying anything. It is a free play. We do not run after you and try to sell you anything. It is very much about the community. You go on jcal.org/meet the playwright. It'll take you to the page where you sign up for it. That is purely for head count. It is not to sell tickets. We do not take money unless you'd like to give me bundles of money, but that's a separate issue altogether. We won't talk about that right now. The play this month, Stories of Jackson Heights, will be on October the 20th. The curtain time is 8 o'clock. It will be 8 o'clock. There will be no audio problems tonight or this month, but it starts at 8 o'clock. It will run approximately a half hour to 40 minutes, I believe, and then it will be question and answer time. And it's from anybody and everybody, so it's not like, oh, I can't ask that question because I'm not sure. Yes, you get to ask the question. That's the point of the whole program. And I really want to thank Harun and Gargi for taken the time to do the interview this afternoon, for coming up with plays that I am learning from. Their previous play, I Shakuntala, I learned a lot. And it was a very unique, not rom-com. It's about a relationship, but I can't tell because if I do, you'll have to see it when you see it. But I am very glad I had the opportunity to see the entire thing because I had seen a shortened version initially. Then we had them come back and do it as the full play. Although the stage is small, and it is, I appreciate that they made all the space work. But I'll have to see it again on a full stage. It's really good. But like I said, October the 20th, 8 o'clock curtain. Sign up on jcal.org/meet the playwright, and once you go to the main page for JCal, you'll see click Meet the Playwright, and everything is there. For those of you who are not in the New York area, even though it's hard to believe, you can actually watch it because it will be live streamed. So you have the opportunity to be at the theater even though you're not at the theater, and then go ahead and call up everybody and say, that was a wonderful play. And talk about it because it will be housed on the JCal site for some time after that. So thank you, Harun. Thank you, Gargi. Thank you, Glenn, for allowing me to sit next to you and be like the guest host.
Absolutely, absolutely. And JCal, if you don't know, is located on Jamaica Avenue. If you're coming on public transportation, you can take the E or the J train to the last stop, and it's just a few blocks away. So you get off at Archer and Parsons, and you walk up towards 161st Street, and you look for JCal in the front, and it's a historic building, landmarked, and it's one of our great historical buildings here in Jamaica. We've got quite a few. And you can also get here at Long Island Railroad, Jamaica Station, get off, and it's a little further walk, but you would go up Jamaica Avenue and Union Hall, just between Union Hall and 161st. And it's a lovely location. Come out and check out the culture that's being offered, the multicultural opportunities and situations, and
tell your friends.
Tell your friends, tell your family. It's a great family night out to come out, bring the children, so that they can be immersed into the different cultural kinds of opportunities. Because again, Queens is one of the most diverse counties in the country, and certainly heard in the world, and so come and sample a piece of the slice of culture that we have here in Jamaica, Queens.
How eloquent that was.
I know, very well said. Very well said.
For those of you who do like the Uber thing, not that I would say that I would do that, but for those of you who do Uber or Lyft, look at 161-04 Jamaica Avenue. And that's the exact address, 161-04 Jamaica Avenue. If you're walking up from the E train, because as Glenn said, it's the last stop. For those of you who don't know the E train, it's the last stop in Queens. Okay, so don't call me from Manhattan. I don't want to hear that. So it's the last stop in Queens.
In Queens, yes.
And so if you're walking up Jamaica Avenue, if you're standing in front of the Chase Bank, It's right next door. It looks like the same building. So the whole thing is historical. But if you're standing in front of Chase, which is right there in the corner, one doorway in is JCal,
And it has
161-4.
big black banners, you know.
Yes.
Yes.
That's a great identifier. And those banners say Jamaica Center of Arts and Learning.
Arts and learning.
And
So-
as Glenn said, it is a fantastic building.
Yes,
We're
it is.
waiting to
Beautiful.
see all of you that are listening. So you have no excuse. I could see you online, and we're going to check. We could see you at the building. We know you know which train, the J or the E, in Queens, the last stop, 16104 Jamaica Avenue. Thursday, there's no confusing, Thursday, October the 20th, 8 o'clock. See you there.
Very good.
Oh, and someone's asking about links to the virtual show. Again, go on to YouTube. Go in jcal.org/Meet the Playwright. And then once you go there, you will see some of the previous shows that Meet the Playwright has posted. So yes, you can. YouTube, jcal/Meet the Playwright. If you just put in Meet the Playwright, you might wind up in Tiberia, but I don't even know if that's a real country, but it will not be the one you need. So jcal/Meet the Playwright. You might
Very-
even see some of Aisha Kuntala, but you didn't hear me say that.
All right. So that's it for our show today. Our World, Hour of Power. See you next week. And don't forget, Meet the Playwright. Thank you. And